morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody. We made it to the weekend. Playoff football is here once again. Divisional round. In my opinion, the best week for football, the best games, right? It's only 4 games, which sucks because, last week we get more games. The regular season, we have a ton of games, but this is the 4 best games of the season, in my opinion. So super fun week. We've got 2 games to break down today, 2 tomorrow. So we won't talk Sunday today. We'll just talk about tomorrow. Today we'll focus on Houston, Kansas City, Washington, Detroit. If you guys have questions in the chat, go ahead and ask. I just pulled up FanDuel so we could go through the odds a little bit easier on stuff. My breakdowns are live, rollinginsights.com. Go to the blog. They're free to read for both games. So if you guys want to check those out, Jim, good morning. Obviously, I can go a little bit more in depth in the blog style format as opposed to being on here just like rambling. So if you guys are interested, they're free to read, rollinginsights.com. Go check out those blog posts for the 2 games today, and then the 2 for tomorrow will be out later today as well. But yeah, let's dive in here. We'll start out Houston, Kansas City. I want to see what the betting splits are because at least on Twitter, it appears to me that no one wants to bet on the Chiefs, which I think is very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Houston, 57% of the spread tickets are on Houston. So Houston is the public side of this game. I think that's interesting that no one wants to bet on the Kansas City Chiefs because this season, Kansas City, 15-2, right? The number 1 seed. Last year, they kind of limped into the playoffs. They didn't get the number 1 seed. They were 3-3 in their last 6 games, right? With some bad losses in there. They looked terrible last year. And then they come out in the first round of the playoffs, home game. They beat the Dolphins 26-7. This year, they're 15-2. They're not struggling. Like, yeah, they haven't looked like, the Chiefs of old when Patrick Mahomes is throwing for 5,000 yards, but they're 15-2. Now they get a home playoff game against a team last week. If you guys remember, this is how quickly perception can change in the NFL, right? Last week, Houston was home underdogs in a playoff game. No one wanted to bet on them. The Chargers were extremely public. Everyone wanted to bet on the Chargers last week in Houston. Now Houston, 8.5-point road dogs against a team going for the first ever 3-peat in NFL history, and everyone wants to bet on them. It's actually hilarious. I would be leaning KC in this game for sure if I was betting a side. Not sure if I'm planning on betting a side of this game, but it's KC or pass for me. I don't think they'll have any issues beating Houston. Houston's defense is very good, especially with, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson. Those guys can get after the quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is mobile. We know he runs a lot in the playoffs. We've seen it time and time again. He's extremely hard to sack. He's one of the hardest quarterbacks in the NFL to actually sack. Patrick Mahomes is so good at avoiding sacks, getting rid of the ball, just throwing it away. So that kind of affects things, I think. And then on the flip side, it's like Kansas City's defense is as healthy as it's been since the beginning part of the season. Health has been a big part of, this team's season, and they've still been able to navigate a 15-2 record. But Kelsey should be ready to go, like as healthy as he's been. Hollywood Brown's as healthy as he's ever been this season. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be as healthy as he's been. Isaiah Pacheco's as healthy as he's been since the beginning of the season. And then on defense, Chris Jones and some of the corners that they're getting back, those guys are as healthy as they've been all season as well. Like, this is big for this team to be able to get those two games off, and rest some guys. So I just really don't understand how no one wanted to bet Houston as a home dog last week, but now everyone wants to bet them on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's pretty crazy to me. So I'm leaning KC in this game. Most certainly. Make it make sense. Yeah, Mitchell, it makes no sense. Also, Mitchell, in the chat, drop a couple UFC bangers. We can parlay with some NFL stuff. Melissa, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Guru, you said, why are the Jets interviewing a million people? Yeah, I'd have no idea. I don't know if there's someone that coaches in the NFL that the Jets have not interviewed, to be honest with you. They've interviewed everyone. I feel like, being that this is like my job, like to follow this and create content and stuff, I feel like I'm pretty up on the coaching ranks in the NFL and who people are. Dude, I don't even, some of these people the Jets have interviewed, I don't even know who these people are. I mean, they are leaving no stone unturned. Which, whatever. I mean, I think, to be honest, Guru, I think the Jets are going to hire Aaron Glenn, and they're just like waiting for the Lions to be done, I guess. So they're just like having some fun, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so I like Kansas City in this game. As far as props go and stuff, um, I mean, if I were picking touchdowns from this game, it's obviously like Kelsey and Pacheco are my favorites from Kansas City, and those are the two, kind of favorites to score from the team as well. Kelsey needs 4 touchdowns for the all-time postseason record, breaking Jerry Rice. If they go to the Super Bowl again, he certainly, has a chance between this game, that game, and the Super Bowl to score 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, I like him. Pacheco, like I said, he should be healthy. I think the Chiefs pretty clearly ramped his workload down the last few weeks, and I think he'll be back to his regular role here. From Houston, I like John Mechie 5-1 for an anytime touchdown. If I was picking someone from Houston, that would be my pick. I wrote him up in the blog. His role has grown a ton as the season has gone on here. He's had 24 targets over the last 4 games. He tied Nico Collins with 8 targets last week against the Chargers. Sneaky, like, okay red zone role. He's tied with like Joe Mixon and Dalton Schultz for targets inside the 20. And, like Dalton Schultz is 340 to score a touchdown. John Mechie is 5-1. I think John Mechie is like a good receiver. He might be involved in the red zone. So if we're looking for a long shot from this game, John Mechie would be my pick there. I don't love a ton of like props and stuff in this game, to be honest with you. Like, Pacheco's rushing yard seems pretty low at 41.5, but that also could just be a trap. So I really don't want to bet on that. Mahomes, if you want to do Mahomes 25 plus rushing yards, I don't hate that. The only concern would be, and this happened I think it was in the Super Bowl then that happened. Like, everyone bet Mahomes over rushing yards. He was easily over it, and then he was kneeling at the end of the game, and he just like backpedaled like 15 yards and lost the bet. So that's like the one concern if it is a close game. I don't know if that would happen again, but just bringing it up. But yeah, Mahomes rushing yards honestly is probably the one prop that I really like in this game. I'm concerned about Joe Mixon's health. He had a DNP on Thursday, which is basically Friday since this game's Saturday. And historically, guys that don't practice on Friday, like, they're not 100% in their game. This is even a shorter week because they're playing Saturday. So, although they did play Saturday last week, I think too. So it kind of is the same, I guess. But yeah, I mean, a DNP on Thursday, I'm a little concerned about that. So I'm not really looking to bet on him, really. Are you fading Nico in DFS? Not sure yet, Mitchell. I need to finalize my teams. On the 2-game slate, probably not. On the 4-gamer, I probably will. I don't know. I have to look at it a little bit more. Not sure, to be honest. Rush attempts. Pacheco over 10.5. I like that, maybe. That looks okay. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's really just the Chiefs for me in this game. This game's a little bit boring. I'm glad it's the first game. Like, we can kind of just ease into the playoffs here, ease into the divisional round, easy game. I think the Chiefs handle this by 10, 12, 13 points. The next game tonight, Commanders-Lions, huge total, 55.5. This is the game. I think this game is going to be awesome. I think if we're looking at one of the big underdogs this week, that being the Texans, the Commanders, and the Rams, those are all, touchdown or more underdogs, basically. I think that the Commanders are the most live for an upset. I don't think the Texans have much of a chance to beat the Chiefs. That's my opinion. If they prove me wrong, I'll admit I was wrong. I don't think the Rams have much of a chance against the Eagles with it being cold there. And the Eagles defense, it's too good. It's the best defense in the NFL, in my opinion. I don't think, even though Sean McVay is a great schemer, a great play caller, I think the Eagles win that game. So I think if I was going to pick an upset, I'm not saying the Commanders are going to win, but I think they're the team that has the best chance at an upset. And it's because of how bad Detroit's defense has been recently. Now, they are a little bit healthier coming out of this, week off. But you guys have to remember that the Chiefs, for example, they got to rest guys week 18 and then have that bye week. So they were getting 2 weeks off for these guys that, need to get healthy. The Lions had to play all out in week 18 because they had to win and get the number 1 seed over the Vikings. So a little bit of a situation, different situation there. And I mean, we've talked about this down the stretch of the season. Like, we bet on Brock Purdy against this Lions defense when he looked dead in the water a few weeks ago. Caleb Williams in the last five to 6 weeks of the season had 2 monster games against this Detroit defense. I just don't really trust him. And if we get in a situation where it's a huge shootout, any team can win. Like, the Commanders, I think, are going to be able to score here. So I would actually lean Commanders. I think the Lions will win the game, but I would lean Commanders plus 9.5 in this one. I think that's too many points for how suspect the defense has looked. Aaron Glenn is very, very stubborn. Like, he plays heavy man coverage. He will not come out of it. We saw this on Thanksgiving Day, right? They were losing guys left and right to injury. He refused to come out of man coverage, and the Bears almost came back and won that game. That's good news for Washington, like Washington's offense. Jane Daniels can get mobile and run against man coverage. Terry McLaurin's one of the best receivers in the NFL this season against man coverage. So I think Washington's going to score here. I think they're live in this game. I like them plus 9.5. I like their team total over as well. It's sitting at 23.5. I'd probably wait. It was at 22.5. I liked that better. I'd probably wait on this and either take a live team total if they start slow, which they can start the game slow because it's going to be absolutely insane inside Ford Field. The crowd is going to be off the charts. So they could start slow. Another thing that I think you could do, which Matt brought up to me, you could look at their second half team total, which is, okay, it's at 12. This was at 11.5. Now it's at 12.5. So maybe Washington's second half team total, maybe look for a live team total if they go 3 and out or something on their first drive. But I like Washington plus 9.5. I think they're going to be in this game. Yeah. Favorite prop from this game, I got 2 that I really like, and I'll be posting obviously my full card on Twitter after this. But first one, I love Terry McLaurin over. Okay, so this came up. It was 23.5. I took this at 23.5. It's 24.5 now. You can still take it. Terry McLaurin over his longest reception today. He, like I said, he's been very good against man coverage. If you look at the last 2 games that he played kind of heavy man teams, Cleveland, he went for over 100 yards against them, but a long of over 60 yards. Pittsburgh went for over 50 yards of a long reception against. I love this play. It's one of my favorite props. So Terry McLaurin over 24.5, longest reception. I got it at 23.5. Still good with the 24.5. And I like Jameson Williams ladders today. 55.5 yards. I think you could take the over there. I think you can sprinkle up to 100 yards. 70, 80, 90, 100. I love it. He's averaging over 70 yards per game at home this season. That translates because he's going to look like he's going to be faster on the turf. So that lines up that he's better, indoors versus some of the times they've played outdoors. Washington also plays pretty heavy man coverage relative to other teams. You're not going to be able to man up Jameson Williams. He's too fast. If they put him one-on-one on the outside, he's going to get loose. Washington also blitzes a lot. Top 5, top 6 in the NFL in blitz rate. Jared Goff, very good against the blitz, but it also could set up, some play action shots, I think, down to Jameson Williams. And Jared Goff's been very good against man and zone. So if Washington tries to flip the script, come out and play zone, I don't know if it'll really matter too much. Like, Detroit's going to score in this game. And Jameson Williams was a big part for them in their playoff games last year. Let's pull up what he did. So, like, against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, they lost, but he scored a touchdown in that game. And he also scored a rushing touchdown in that game, which I think is important. He had 1 carry for 42 yards and a touchdown. Ben Johnson, we know, will get deep into his bag in these playoff games. Would not be shocked to see something like that happen. So if you're betting him first touchdown, anytime touchdown, which I'll be doing as well, that kind of factors into it too. We could see, maybe a carry or 2. I mean, that was the biggest game of the season, and that's the type of stuff that they were doing. So Jameson Williams today, I'll be betting him anytime and first touchdown. I like his receiving yards over and some yardage ladder props as well, along with that Terry McLaurin over longest reception. And I'm probably going to bet Washington plus 9.5. I wasn't going to do it, but I think I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to look and hope that maybe they start slow. Like maybe Detroit's up, 7-0, 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, and we can get in on a better team total number live. No Pierce props up. Yeah, Guru, that's unfortunate. I'm interested in Dameon Pierce. I guess you could look at him maybe for a touchdown. Let me see what that is. It's just, I mean, the team total for the Texans is only 16.5 points, right? We're not expecting them to score many touchdowns here. But his TD odds is pretty good, 14-1 anytime. I am interested in that, to be quite honest with you. That is interesting to me. I wish there was some rushing props, though, like you said. But yeah, so let's build. We'll do some parlays first touchdown and anytime. We'll do some parlays here before we get out. Okay, so yeah, Mitchell, I was gonna ask about hold on. What? Yeah, is that the tease the Chiefs and Commanders 6 points? Yeah, you could definitely do that. I have some big parlays. I'm not check my Twitter. I'm gonna tweet them out. I have a 3-unit and a 2-unit that I will be posting here after the stream. But let me pull UFC up. I was gonna ask because Mitchell, I trust you the most with UFC of anyone I know because I know you know what you're talking about. Someone else I know that I don't really know how, I guess, good they are at UFC, but they were telling me to bet against Islam. So can you tell me, like, I saw you put Islam KO plus 175. So is this like stupid? Because someone I know that I don't know if they're good or not, but they follow the UFC. They told me to take the guy fighting Islam to take his money line. It's like plus 800 or something. So I was interested just because it was such a big number. But you can tell me if that's stupid or not in the chat. Yeah. All right. Touchdowns. I'm going to put Kelsey in here. Obviously. I'm going to put Jameson Williams in. Obviously. I'm going to put David Montgomery in. Obviously. And then we'll do Saquon and Henry, just the chalk picks. I mean, this is 22-1. 5 guys. Absolutely terrible, terrible odds. Like, this should not be 22-1. This should be 50-1. They're just raking you over the coals at this point. But we're here to have fun. And NBA DFS tonight. You crushed it this week. Yes, Jim, I will have some NBA. Yes. Maybe I could see it for the odds, but I don't think he has a chance. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of like automatically interested, I guess, just because it's like 8-1. And I feel like the UFC is kind of rigged. Not rigged, but just like the reffing can just go, not reffing, the scoring, like the people that do the scores, like that could just go anyway. Like they could just say someone wins even though they don't win, like that happens all the time. So anytime you get a huge number like that in one of these big fights, I'm a little interested in. Unless they're going against like Pereira, like I will never bet against Pereira, like ever. There's not like you would, I don't know, there's not an amount of money you could pay me to bet against Alex Pereira. That guy is an absolute psychopath. This fight was made yesterday. That's interesting. All right, anytime touchdown parlay. This is what I'm rocking with. It's 22-1. Travis Kelce in the first game, J-Mo and Montgomery in the second game, Barkley tomorrow, and Henry. If we can just get to tomorrow, I mean, we would feel really good about Barkley and Henry. I feel like cash in this 22-1. So let's just try and get to tomorrow for that one. And then we'll do a first touchdown parlay. I think I have to go into the games for that. We're going to obviously do, should we do Kelce or Pacheco? We can do Pacheco. So we'll do Isaiah Pacheco. I'm going to stick with J-Mo just because I'm all in on him at this point. So we'll do J-Mo. Oh, another thing. I wanted to bring this up to you guys. If you guys have been on these streams before, I've identified this a couple times and it's worked in our favor. Jameson Williams has worse touchdown odds on FanDuel than he does on some other books. Whenever that happens, FanDuel, like I've told you guys all season, FanDuel makes a point to have the best touchdown odds. It's like a big draw for them to get your action. We offer the best touchdown odds. Whenever I see a guy that has lower odds on FanDuel than any other book, it sets off an alarm. So that makes me even more confident Jameson Williams is scoring today. This has happened a couple times with like Taysom Hill, but yeah, like even first touchdown, J-Mo's plus 850 on FanDuel. He's like 10-1 on other sites. So I just wanted to make a note of that. Last week, there was so many like high odds first touchdowns, right? Like Diami Brown and I think Bateman and someone in that first game was high odds too. I can't remember. So it's going to be just chalk fest this week, I think. So we'll just put Barkley in. It's going to be a chalk fest. It's 216-1. A coffee will get you 10 grand if this hits. Pacheco, Jameson Williams, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, first touchdown parlay. A coffee for 10,000. That's what I'm looking to do here this weekend. It was high odds all last week in the first touchdown department. This week, it's going back. It's going to be Chalk City. Islam, yeah, okay, I knew that about Islam. That's why I was like surprised that this guy was saying to bet on or bet against him, I guess, just because I thought Islam was like kind of like one of those guys you just don't bet against. I thought that was interesting. All right. Overall, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. If not, tag me on Twitter. Go to get in the Rolling Insights Discord. You can go to rollinginsights.com. When you're reading my blog, go down to the bottom. There should be some social links down there if you want to hop in our Discord. We're launching that here, trying to get some people in there. So go check that out if you want to talk to me in there. I'll be in there while we're watching the games this weekend. But yeah, I'll post my bets for today on Twitter. I'll do the same tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. So be sure you guys tune in for that. We'll be talking Rams, Eagles, and Bills, Ravens. Bills, Ravens is, I mean, this is like a Super Bowl preview. Like, not that they could play in the Super Bowl, but I mean, you can make the argument these are the two best teams in the NFL. So this might be like the real Super Bowl tomorrow. We'll see. Good luck today with your bets, though. Good luck with DFS if you guys are playing that. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.